What's going on? It's Young Base Lord. Again with another video. Today I've got a special kind of deck. So the new update has just come out, and Firm as the Earth and all those other kind of drop your life point skills, they got a big boost. So Firm as the Earth Psychics is now definitely a top tier deck in my opinion. This is at least a tier 3, if not a tier 2 deck. There's no real main set to the cards, things that you need besides your Serene Psychic Witch, your Reinforced Human Psychic Borg, your Psychokinesis, and your Mirror Wall. So I'm going to go over the deck a little bit, talk about how it works, how it functions, things you can substitute in, etc., and I'm going to show some replays. So first off, the whole point of the deck is basically you want to drop your life points below 3,000, or you want to lose 1,000 life points, and then you're going to activate Firm as the Earth, which will act Gaia power, whatever it is, so all your Earth monsters gain 500 attack. So you're using only Earth Psychic type monsters and Popcorn. You don't need to have Popcorn, you can run other things, but it is pretty good so far, and I'll talk about why. So you have Serene Psychic Witch because when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you get to banish one Psychic type monster and then special summon in the next turn. This is really good for getting a Reinforced Human Psychic Borg out on the field, or for getting out your Destructotron. Other than that, you don't really need to get Power Injector out, I don't think, but you can do whatever. You just, I think the main thing with it is Destructotron and Reinforced Human Psychic Borg, so you can power things up and destroy your opponent's back row. Psychokinesis to pop your opponent's back row as well. Cosmic Cyclone to banish back row. This, I think having 2 Cosmic Cyclone would be better. I only have 1, but for that you run Anti-Magic Arrows, which I think is really good, especially if you don't have enough life points left to pop things. Anti-Magic Arrows is great for just sealing games. You have Destructotron to pop opponent's back row, as I've said. Power Injector to boost up your monsters as well. Floodgate is just good in every deck. I run it at 2. You could run it at 3. You've got Mirror Wall to also drop your life points by 2,000 if you so desire, which I think is really good, especially if you're getting quick OTKs. Wall Disruption is pretty much the card that you want to get rid of the most out of this deck besides the Popcorns. You could change that out for another Cosmic Cyclone, another Mirror Wall, another Floodgate, a whole variety of other things. If you have 2 Destructotrons, you could also run that over one of the Popcorns, but I don't think that's super necessary. I think Destructotron at 1 is fine. Popcorn is really good because if you get the field spell up, it's at 2,700 attack for a normal 4-star special or normal summon monster. It doesn't get any of the cool effects from the other Psychic type monsters, and you can't use Psychokinesis with it, but it still works really well in the deck. Now, if you don't want to run 2 Popcorn, or you're looking for other sort of, what am I doing? Other cards to fit in here because you're missing some pieces, I'm going to talk about the best things to do. So also, in some of these dual replays, I have Armored Axon Kicker. This card is bad. I used to run it at 2, I used to run it at 1, now I run at 0 because you don't want to run it. Having a tribute for it, it's hard sometimes to keep monsters on the field with this deck, especially when you're losing life points. And you can take a ton of damage when this thing destroys opponent's monsters, because you could get it up by 500, you can get it up to about 3,200 attack with just one other monster on the board, and taking half of your opponent's attack and damage and recoil is just so bad. So other things you can run, Black Brachious is great for changing your opponent's monsters to defense position. What else is good? Boxer is really good. Someone brought this up in my Discord. Shout out to whoever did that. Who was it? Prince Vortex. Shout out to you. Boxer is really good because when you destroy opponent's monsters, you get to put counters on it. It's not destroyed by battle or card effects, and if you need to special summon something, that's really cool as well. So you can add some special summon monsters in there, though I don't really think there's anything good for that besides Ancient Geared Golem, which can't be special summoned. I guess you could run Gaia Plate, but you don't get out for 1 turn because you have to banish rock types. There was one other thing I think I wanted to talk about in the, oh yeah, Buster Blader would be cool with Boxer, but it's not that great. That's why I think Popcorn is really good. Also, Leotard would be the other main option. I think the rest are all pretty not really worthy of this deck because they're not Psychic types. There is one other Psychic type. It's got 1,700 attack, and the effect is pretty meh, but I wouldn't run that because there's a lot of better options you could do. So let me pop into the dual replays here. Also, if you haven't seen it, not all these are the best replays, but these are the quickest replays because I'm not going to have a whole lot of time to record in the future, and I think these are pretty good so far. I'll probably have another version of this deck out at some point, or maybe some other one, like maybe Mightiest Fire, or whatever the water one is, I'm not sure. The new Card Trader cards just came out like 20 minutes ago as I'm recording this, and we've got some cool new Buster Blader monster where you need to have, I had never seen this card before this, and it wasn't in leaks and cards from some of the other discords I'm in. Uh, it doesn't have. Well, you need to have equal light and dark monsters in your graveyard, and then you can special summon it by banishing all of them, and then certain effects activate based on which one you banished. So I think that's pretty cool. Also, this guy's running some really weird Gladiator Beast card in his deck, but you don't judge people for that, since this is still pretty much an effective Gladiator Beast deck. But you let it get off its effect. The Demakari isn't going to bring out anything that is too difficult to manage, especially since we'll be able to bring up our Destructotron next turn, and we have Psychokinesis anyway. So we're going to be able to clean sweep this guy, as you will see. This deck is really, really good against Gladiator Beasts, which I never really think about because Gladiator Beasts are such a problem right now, at least for a lot of the decks I like to run. So this is just a really good deck versus that, and I think that this deck will get to King of Games. Also, if you guys haven't noticed so far, when you activate your skills, it shows as your opponent right now. So all of these duels, when I activate Firm as the Earth, it's going to show as my opponent's character, and that's at turn 3 OTK, which is really what this deck wants to do. You want to get your monsters out, you want to pop your opponent's back row, you want to pop your life points, and you want to sweep. That is all this deck does. And this next duel is kind of a struggle because this deck I brought in, this duel I brought in because I want to show why Armored Axon Kicker is bad. And it's not a clean OTK kind of replay. So this one is one where you want to pay attention to because it shows what not to do. And then the last two are pretty much clean sweeps, I think. So I think I should have gotten to King Games a while ago. I've just been super busy, super lazy, and not really invested in the game as much because it's kind of been at a lull. But I am waiting for the Tag Duels event. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Soul Exchange, not something you really see in the Arcana decks, which is kind of bad for me for this because I'm not going to get Serene Psychic Witch as effect. Tributing does get around that destruction. I don't think this guy knew what was up, but that's fine. We do draw pretty poorly, and Armored Axon Kicker is just a dead monster in hand. We're going to be able to pop Mirror Wall here, which will be able to get us our Firm as the Earth if we so choose to do it. We have, well, you'll see. I don't need to talk about this so much. Along with the new Blackluster Soldier monster that we got, we also got some Spirit Monster, which I had like 50 of as a kid in real cards, but I never played it because Spirit Monsters are bad, in my opinion, and it's got pretty bad stats as well. It's got, 1200 attack, 1800 defense, which is pretty garbage. Then there was that 1600 attack, 0 defense machine monster, which I'm sorry, I just don't know the name of it. It had, oh geez, I'm trying to remember everything about it now. What was it? Oh, when you destroy an opponent's monster by battle, you get to draw one card and then return one card from your hand to the bottom of your deck, which I think is really good. It's a pretty nice card, and I think it might see some play in certain machine type decks. And here's where we get the Popcorn. Popcorn going in. Popcorn's such a cool card, especially since it's 2700 attack just for a normal summon monster. I only have 2 of these so far. I would run a Popcorn themed deck if I had 3, but sadly not there yet, and we can't even pop the Psychokinesis. So the whole thing here is I could be attacking with Armored Axon Kicker, but because of the effect where I would lose a bunch of life points, it's not worth it because I would lose straight up. Additionally, if another thing you can run in this deck is Forbidden Chalice, and then you'll get around his effect, which would be really nice, and it's good for other opponents' monsters, so consider that in the other options. I thought I said it before, I just realized I didn't. That is the one way I think you should run Armored Axon Kickers with that, because then you can get around that and have super high life points. You'd be at 3600 maximum, I think. No. You could do 500 more than that. So you'd be at 4100, which is pretty crazy. No effect. So yeah, think of that as an option. Also, feel free in the comments down below to leave some other options for this deck if you guys think of any things that I haven't exactly thought of. You can run, I guess you could run some Ancient Gear style monsters in this deck. You could run Knight, or you can run that box, but the box is bad, so don't do that since this is an OTK deck. Ancient Gear got a lot better, by the way, now that Cyber Angel and Ninjas have been nerfed. This guy running a pretty cool plant deck. I brought this one in just because I love plant decks, and Botanical Girl, such a cool card, but he was Naturia Moron, so Naturia's bad. Don't run Naturia, guys. Naturia died like 8 months ago. Cosmic Cyclone in the end phase, so we get rid of one of his cards. It's an enemy controller, which is really nice, so we'll be able to get around that. Psychokinesis on the other one, because that's how we do it. It doesn't matter if he activates it. It's Divine Wrath, which is really important that we did this before we activate Power Injector's effect, because we would have lost our monster and potentially lost this duel, but instead we're able to clean sweep it up. If I get this deck to King of Games, I'll probably make a video about that, but probably I don't know if it's going to be the one that gets me to King of Games. We'll see. Bastion is so cool though, with all of his abilities like this. I need to farm around and get me some more of them. I don't think I have all of them. I'm missing the light one, I think, out of all of them. I want to do one with the dark, but that ability isn't super great since we don't have tons of coverage for it. Psychics is just so good with this because a lot of them are Earth, a lot of them meld well together that are Earth, and there's just so much support for Psychics. Psychics used to be so much better, but I think they're going to be having another time in the spotlight right now. So this guy is obviously running a hazy deck because he's Aroma strategy. We see that Flame Tiger, so things are going to get popping over here. We're going to be able to bring out the Destructotron next turn, which is really, really important because Destructotron is so good for popping opponent's back row. Although this guy, he does have chains for both of them, which is kind of unfortunate. I wasn't really expecting so many people to be running enemy controller right now since there's, you know, less Cyber Angels on the ladder. And Cyber Angels being gone means less enemy controller, of course. But he does have both things to pop, so really I lost 2,000 life points for nothing. Well, it's never for nothing because we do get to activate Firm as the Earth, and we're going to take out his Flame Tiger here. He does activate it, which is a little irritating since I was really hoping, but I think he misplayed here. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he misplayed here initially, so I didn't activate my Floodgate, and I had completely forgotten about the Beast Rising, and then he pops. But it's fine because I'll be able to pop off on this guy with my Psychics with their abilities and with the Anti-Magic Arrows. Thank goodness for that. I was really hoping this guy wasn't going to activate Anti-Magic Arrows because I was beefing myself up. He thought, oh, he's just going to run into a mirror wall, whatever I have. But this guy's got nothing, and I'm going to drop him down to next to 0 life points, and he's going to forfeit next turn when he draws nothing. So that's the end of the video for this one. Thank you all for watching. Psychics have a new, I don't know, they just got better. So they got buffed. So I hope you guys run some Psychics. I hope you like this deck. I hope Firm as the Earth gets better, and I hope people give it the recognition it so deserves. So thank you all for watching. This is the Jewish Giraffe signing